No, we just jump right in. And very nice to meet you, by the way. Glad you're here today. How's it
Yeah,
going?
me too. Thank you. Yeah, it's good. How are you?
Good. I'm doing good. So you're at home, I take it?
Yeah, yeah.
Is that your personal lab space?
Yeah, you could call it that, I guess. This is where the magic happens.
That's right. Do you do any of your research or computational at home?
Yeah, a lot of our research is computational. We do DFTs, docking, molecular dynamics, all of that great stuff at home.
One of Do you work with Harsha at all?
Yeah, he's in my group, and I've worked with him in the past. But yeah,
Okay. You mentioned what you mentioned he talked about, and I was like, and is it Laksham?
Lakshman, yeah,
Lakshman, that's right. Oh, I knew I
yeah,
was going to mess that up. Lakshman, he talked about all the different software that you use to analyze that stuff. It's
yeah.
pretty cool stuff. So what research are you working on? Like what are you doing these days? Tell us
Yeah,
about
so I say currently, in Edward's group, we're always involved in a lot of different projects and doing a lot of different things. But one project that I am involved in is the synthesis and biological activity of curcumin analogs and curcuminoids as possible CDK inhibitors. So basically, what CDK stands for is cyclin-dependent kinases, which are basically kinases that regulate cell cycle progression, transcription, mRNA processing, differentiation of nerve cells, a bunch of other stuff in eukaryotes. And inhibiting these CDKs is known to have anti-cancer effects, and it's being researched as a
it.
anti-cancer therapy, method. And curcumin is a really interesting compound. It's been heavily researched and is continually like a hot topic in research. It's basically a natural polyphenol found in turmeric, and it has a lot of different known bioactive properties. So definitely, as part of our project, we're kind of exploring all of those different bioactive properties through assays and computational work and all that stuff. And curcumin has been known to inhibit various serine threonine kinases, which CDKs are a type of serine threonine kinase. And a few previous studies show that it's effective against CDK1, 2, and 4, which are just different genes in different parts of the cyclin-dependent kinases. Yeah,
Well, that's
that's pretty
interesting.
much.
You said CDK 1, 2, and
Yeah,
4,
yeah.
and you said they're what? They're different what?
They're a class of serine threonine kinases. Yeah.
And what does that do? For whatever reason, I was like, that sounds interesting. You
Yeah.
mentioned those three differences. Like, what does that do for us? Like, or how does that help you do your stuff?
So serine threonine kinases is like a really big category, and they're all pretty different. But a lot of them are involved in like cell proliferation or the cell cycle, or tumor proliferation. Basically, a lot of the stuff that allows cancer to like spread and metastasize throughout the body and stuff. So the inhibiting of serine threonine kinases is really researched and like interested,
Hmm.
because inhibiting them is like has the possibility for having new methods of anti-cancer therapy.
Gotcha. So that's kind of what you're looking for right now is how to inhibit them.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so interesting. Yeah, from the standpoint of my understanding of this stuff, which is nothing. I, you don't often think of inhibition as something that would help in solving a problem. Was that something you learned along the way, those concepts, and did it change your thinking about this stuff?
Yeah, of course. When I first joined ASDRP, I was obviously completely clueless and didn't know what was going on. But yeah, a lot of diseases and like disorders and problems in the human body can be like remedied by inhibiting some kind of protein or kinase rather than like helping it like work or whatever. So yeah.
I read something that's interesting. I read something about the COVID stuff, and the author had said our bodies are great at being places where things can like reproduce, right? Whether it's good or bad.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So it sounds like what you're saying is that inhibiting helps that other stuff from stopping.
Yeah, cancer is basically caused by cells like replicating in like a really fast pace. So if you're able to stop those cells from reproducing and going through mitosis and stuff, then you can stop cancer from spreading throughout the body. So that's basically the ideology behind it.
Okay, that makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. Couldn't tell you how to do it, but it does from what you're saying. Make a
Yeah.
lot of sense. And when you look at when you started, when did you start again?
I started in, I think, around February of this year.
Okay, so you've been doing this almost a year.
Yeah, almost.
When you look at the next year uh, of your research, what is your vision like now in the midst of where you want to see yourself? Let's say by the end of August or something like that next year. Are you able to look that far forward and kind of see where you want to be?
I think it's really hard to predict what's going to come in the future. I think even back, if you asked me this question in like February, like I would never have known that COVID would have been a thing and like, stuff like that. So I think it's hard to predict exactly what's going to happen in the future. But I hope that, I'm able to make a lot of great progress in my research and get exposed to a lot more different types of science and yeah, have ASDRP be a really great learning experience for me.
That's great. I mean, it makes such a difference in the midst of yourself and where you want to see yourself.
Yeah,
So when
absolutely.
you see the papers, like I mentioned to you, I read an article about the vaccine and its mRNA stuff and things like that. When you read that stuff, do you understand it differently now?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I think I look at it with a really different mindset. Like now I'm looking at it as, is this a potential research opportunity, or how can I apply this to what I'm doing in ASRP? Or, like, oh, I remember so and so talking about this before, and I'm able to like connect that back, which I think I never would have been able to do if I didn't like join ASDRP. So
That's awesome. That's definitely what we hope for our research is exactly what you're saying.
yeah,
It literally takes you from like narrow to wide, huh?
absolutely.
Is there is there anything in particular? I mean, you think about the future and science and what you're working on. Is there stuff you want to pursue in the future related to different kinds of research? Have your goals changed with your own personal education or research stuff compared to where you were in February even?
Yeah, I think absolutely. I kind of always knew that I was interested in like science in general, I guess, or like STEM or whatever. But I didn't know what career I wanted to go into or what my future would look like. So as I was just kind of exploring things and joined ASDRP, I think that might have become a little more clear. I wouldn't say I know exactly what I want to go into right now either, but I think chemistry research and biochemistry, biology, molecular biology, all that stuff really interests me. So I think in the future, I know that I want to continue doing stuff that's along the lines of what I'm doing right now.
That's very cool. We can
Mhm.
have what the Shimita lab of biochemistry or something, your own special lab.
Of course, yeah.
Your own ASTRP offshoot, which will be part of it, of course, right?
I'll come back to ASRP and advertise for it.
That's, where are you going to high school right now?
I go to Irvington.
Irvington. Okay. What grade are you in?
I'm a sophomore.
Sophomore. Nice. Boy. I was trying to think. It was fortunate that your freshman year you got to be on campus for a little while.
Yeah, yeah.
I think about those students. And my oldest daughter just started Davis this fall. She moved up to Davis. She's got an apartment. But nothing's going on campus. So like to be a freshman in college and like have not the experience, it's been so different.
Yeah, my brother's actually a freshman in college, but he's staying at home, and I can see how like annoyed that he is that he can't experience all those things. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So you're a sophomore. Do you see yourself staying with ASDRP for a little longer?
Yeah, I know for the near future I'd like to be an ASDRP. Obviously I can't predict what happens, but yeah,
Yeah,
I think I definitely like ASDRP and if I can I'd like to continue.
that's good to hear because I know that we work hard as a board just to continue to provide opportunities that might be of interest, right? And because it's such I mean, do you find it to be a creative place? Like there's a lot of creativity and ingenuity that goes on?
Oh yeah, of course. There's so many different things going on at ASDRP at all times that like every day I'm learning about something new that's happening like I've never heard of before, or I didn't even know that ASDRP was doing. Which I think is amazing that I can be exposed like 10 feet down in the lab that like someone's doing something groundbreaking, and like I have no idea, and I can go up and talk to them and learn all these things that I've never heard of. Yeah, it's amazing.
That's true. You're surrounded by people like yourself doing this.
Yeah, exactly.
That's really cool. And I was asking this if you have you decorated the Christmas tree at all?
Oh, um, kind of. I'd say I'm not the most artistic person, but I've noticed those ornaments that people make of their advisors. There's one of Edward, there's one of Mr. H, there's one of Mr. Downing. It's hilarious. It's amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I know. Rob was talking about his pink shoes. He's like, I don't like the pink shoes. I'm like, it's a
Yeah.
compliment. You need to have different colors on your clay Rob. That's fun. When you So what is your how much? Oh, let me ask you this. I have like 7 different things I'd love to ask you because it's again all really cool stuff. How much time do you spend in the lab every week?
I'd say it varies a little bit, but probably I go in maybe around 5 to 6 times a week, 4 to 5 hours each time. So I'd say I spend quite a bit of time in the lab, but it's definitely very enjoyable. I love making progress on my research. So yeah.
Does it feel like enough, or do you want more even?
There's not enough hours in the day. Like, I always want more time, but yeah, I have school, which is which is annoying, but it is what it is.
Sorry, it's like I know you're like school. I mean, it is such an incredible school you're going to with ASDRP. Just the learning that's going on, and just everything
Yeah.
you're doing.
ASRP is like a school in and of itself. Pretty awesome.
Absolutely, I agree. Are you doing much writing these days with your research?
Yeah, yeah. I'm involved in a few different projects. So for that, we're actually writing multiple papers for each project. So definitely, with all the, I think, recent COVID scares or whatever, people are staying at home more a little bit. So we're really grinding out those papers. So yeah, definitely a lot of writing.
Excellent. So I'm sure your writing skills, you see them improving as well?
Yeah, actually, I didn't know how like bad I was at just like English writing stuff until I got to ASRP. I realized I was like, wow, I can't like write essays. Like, wow.
Like synthesizing your thoughts and putting it down, everything together. It's definitely a challenge in a whole new way. I've definitely
Yeah,
found that scientists tend to be, when they like to write, are some of the best writers because their logic and the way they put things together is just phenomenal.
yeah. Like stitching the words in a way that can convey what you're thinking, that's like a really hard skill to get,
Yeah.
which I think, yeah, a lot of scientists definitely have like mastered.
Yeah, they've done it for years and years. Keep trying. Is there anything else you wanted to add or say for the audience out there?
If we went along the lines of like advice for a new researcher or something,
Yeah, yeah.
I think I'm pretty new to research myself, so I don't think I'm super qualified to give advice. But if I had to say one thing, I would just say if you don't know something, try to find out. Because if you don't know something and you just sit on it and try to pretend that you know it, or I don't know, just like forget about it, then you might regret it in the future. And ASRP is always an experience where you learn new things, and your main goal should be to learn new things. So any opportunity you have, always ask someone about it or look it up, or try to find out. Yeah.
That's all.